when John Boehner and the Republicans don't stand up, it sends a message to the viewer. Oh, wow, see, I guess those Republicans really do have a war on women. I guess they really don't like women. I guess they really do think women should be paid 78 cents on the dollar to what men are paid. So here's what the president didn't tell you, because this was sleight of hand. This was dishonesty in the way that he presented this. Okay. What the president was talking about was something called the Democrats have called the Paycheck Fairness Act. The Paycheck Fairness Act. Here's what the Paycheck Fairness Act means. It's the government stepping in and telling private businesses, you're not allowed to have a policy among your employees that tells your employees, don't be sharing what you make with other employees. In other words, a lot of companies have a company policy. Whatever we pay you, okay, that's privileged information. You're not allowed to go telling the other employees what your salary is. That's between the company and you. Our company policy is, don't be telling other employees what you're paid. All right? What President Obama wants to do, and what Democrats want to do, is to tell private businesses, you're not allowed to have that policy in your books. You're not allowed to tell your employees, we don't want you telling people what you make. We don't want you telling your fellow employees what you make. Folks, this has been a long-standing tradition of common protocol in businesses. You don't tell your fellow employees, hey, here's how much I make, how much do you make? The president wants to take away the right of businesses to tell their employees, we don't want you doing that. This is the Paycheck Fairness Act. And the thinking from the Democrats is that if we have open discussions about what people make, then it'll become more aware, it'll be out on the table that some woman is talking to some man, well, here's what I make, what do you make? And then the man says what he makes, and then the woman's like, well, I've been here just as long as you have, and I'm making less than you do, and aha, so it shines a light on that disparity, if you will. That's what the Democrats' argument is. My argument is, number one, the government has no business sticking their nose in private companies and telling private companies whether you're allowed to have a policy of secrecy in what you make to other employees. But then secondly, this whole notion that women aren't paid equal to men in today's day and age, this has already been thoroughly debunked, folks. I've debunked this on the show many times. This whole women make 78 cents on the dollar compared to men. That is absolutely debunked, and I'll tell you why. When you truly compare apples to apples, women make the same amount of money as men. But here's the difference. Here's where that 78 cents on the dollar figure comes in. Number one, it factors in part-time workers. And there are way more women working part-time jobs than there are men working part-time jobs. And anybody knows part-time jobs are lower paying jobs. On average, they are. Why do more women work part-time jobs? Because very often you have the man working full-time and the woman is working part-time to bring in some supplemental income. Working a part-time job means that she doesn't bring in as much money. She's not paid as much per hour because part-time jobs don't pay as much. You then have, very often, women tend to take more short-term jobs with more flexible hours that also pay less. Because women want to have more flexibility to go at home, to work at home sometimes, to be able to, they take many more jobs that allow the flexibility of working at home. Well, those tend to be lower paying jobs. They also take jobs that are more shorter term, not as much of a career job. Many more women will say, because I know I'm only going to be looking for a job for a couple of years, because then I plan on having babies, and then I'm going to be out of the workforce for several years, and then I'll go back in, so I don't want to get some long-term thing. I'll take more of a short-term position that pays less but has more flexible hours.